among black and minority communities. That's the verdict on a new report into police stop and search operations in Southampton.
It confirms that black men are more likely to be targeted than any other section of the community. And that, according to race relations experts, is totally unacceptable.
Well, the study was carried out in conjunction with Hampshire Constabulary. It focused on how officers carried out their duties over a period of 6 months. Sam Holder brings us this special report.
Father of two Olu Rowe will never forget the moment he was stopped by police. Subject to a humiliating body search in full view of the city's traffic on suspicion of drug offences. But Olu has never taken drugs in his life and was picking up his son from school.
I was asked to, to sort of spread, basically, to be ready for a search. It was embarrassing. I felt like the book from the perception, the book that was being judged by the cover, that anyone driving past would have seen a black guy, being searched by two officers, and probably assuming that that I was up to something.
Controversy has surrounded police stop and searches for decades. Critics say minority groups are unfairly stopped. But now, for the first time, an in-depth study in Southampton has found that black people are being disproportionately targeted. Between January and June 2016, there were just over 900 stop and searches in Southampton, and around 11.5% of those were of black people. But only 3.2% of Southampton's population is actually black, meaning stop and search rates are 4 times higher than would be expected.
I think that if you're a young black man, or black man generally speaking, that you have the fear that as you're walking down the street, you may be stopped or you may be searched. And clearly that makes you either very distrustful of police officers, or indeed it makes you sort of very bitter about enduring this experience.
Stop and searches are meant to cut down on street crime like drug dealing or carrying weapons, but the report found most are released without any charge. In 2014, Theresa May called for major reforms to the practice.
I am determined to make sure that nobody should ever be stopped and searched because of the colour of their skin.
But it appears that stop and searches are still targeting minority groups, and the question is, how much harm is that causing? Sam Holder, ITV News, Southampton.
Well, we're joined now by Chief Superintendent Richard John from Hampshire Police, and also the author of that report and race relations expert Don John. And we have to point out that they're not related. Thank you both for coming in. Chief Superintendent, if I can start with you. If you're black and you're in Southampton, you're 4 times more likely to be stopped and searched. Are these people being unfairly targeted?
For every time an officer carries out a stop and search, it has to be lawful. That means that an officer has to have reasonable grounds to believe that that person he's stopping is carrying something that's prohibited, and that officer will then apply that to the criteria to make it a lawful stop and search. They cannot carry out a stop and search unless they meet that requirement.
Don, the report said that people are being stopped for looking suspicious. What makes someone look suspicious?
The reasons given by police officers are that they're either suspicious or they're loitering. We've got a problem with those particular reasons, and one of the things that we like to see is for police officers to perhaps explain a little more why people are being stopped.
We've worked relentlessly with Don, with our community and with our staff to address these issues. We've delivered frontline training to all our staff that includes unconscious bias. We also have a community observer scheme which invites feedback from members of the community on how we're delivering that service. We have body-worn video, and we also have independent advisory people who will come in and scrutinise the way that we carry out stop and search.
And briefly, evidence shows that most stop searches come to absolutely nothing. That shows that comprehensive reform has to happen, doesn't it?
I would say that with the positive outcomes of stop and search has actually increased to 32%, which is the highest it's ever been. So for me, that shows that officers have taken on board the training they've been given, have listened to the community, and are applying intelligence to where they do their stop and search.
But that means 68% are being stopped for no reason at all. Don, what do you have to say to that?
Well, it means that the police are wasting their time. When 68% results in no further action, then with the cuts in police budgets, Why are the police spending so much time in stopping people with no positive result?
Do we need to rethink then?
The public deserve to be protected. Stop and search is an effective tool to give officers an option to keep people safe.
Don?
Well, we believe stop and search is very important, but it must be used wisely and productively.
Chief Superintendent Richard John from Hampshire Police and Don John, thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.